Yes. Each day holds a surprise, but only if we expect it can we see it, hear, or feel it when it comes to us. Let's not be afraid to receive each day's surprise, whether it comes to us as sorrow or as joy. It will open a new place in our hearts, a place where we can welcome new friends and celebrate more fully our shared humanity. An excellent morning to everybody here. It's my pleasure to be a part of this Atal session. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all of you. We are pleased to have Mrs. K. Ramya, event coordinator.
Excellent morning to all. Let's start this wonderful session with a prayer song.
உமையவளின் பாலனே விநாயகா உமையவளின் பாலனே விநாயகா தேவர் மூவர் போற்றும் வேத நாயகா தேவர் மூவர் போற்றும் வேத நாயகா தேவாதி தேவனே விநாயகா தேவாதி தேவனே விநாயகா வல்வினைகள் தீர்க்கும் வேத நாயகா வல்வினைகள் தீர்க்கும் வேத நாயகா வேண்டும் வரம் தந்திடும் விநாயகா வேண்டும் வரம் தந்திடும் விநாயகா 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 விநாயகா.
Thank you for going to your
Thank you, teachers, for your wonderful melodious voice. Next, I would like to call upon Mrs. K. Ramya to deliver a welcome.
What to do? What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make it. A famous quote by William James. A very excellent morning to one and all present here. I'm really privileged to have this pleasant task of welcoming the distinguished gathering for an interactive session with our chief guest of the day. On behalf of Ssv Atal team, I warmly welcome our chief guest, Mr. Swami Vangal Ramamurthy, Division Head, Robotics Business, Omron Asian Pacific, Singapore. Sir is a hands-on senior management executive with extensive experience in leading successful teams with a focus on industrial robotics, autonomous robots, and automation for high volume and high-end manufacturing. Welcome, sir. A warm word of welcome to Ms. Chaya Banti, founder and CEO of Vertiver, a one-owned social enterprise that enables sustainability and climatic action through policy advisory, knowledge management, design thinking, behavior change, and project implementation. Ms. Chaya has worked on several government and bilateral programs to develop strategies for effective action across forestry and biodiversity, sustainable agriculture, urban waste management, and sustainable livelihood. Welcome, ma'am. Let me extend my thanks to our beloved mentor, Mr. Malliyappan, who is always a moral boost for us. I thank him for making his presence despite his busy schedule. Welcome, sir. A warm word of welcome to our management heads, Mr. P. Ashok Shankar, Mr. P. Anand Shankar, who are being a backbone in all our success endeavors. A hearty welcome to our principal, Ms. Radhani S. Nair, who is an indomitable spirit to maintain the discipline in our school premises. Welcome, ma'am. I'm pleased to welcome our vice principals, Mrs. T. Usharani and Mrs. Samundishwari, my dear staff members, and the vibrant students. I once again welcome you all on this wonderful occasion.
Thank you, ma'am. If the school principal is strong, motivated, and a good manager who clearly outlines expectations for faculties and students, then the school tends to make progress. We are delighted to have an eminent and an intellectual personality who has an uncanny ability to win the hearts of everyone she meets with her presence. Here comes our dynamic principal, Ms. Rajani S. Nair, to address the gathering.
Thanks a lot, sir. Is my voice audible? Yeah. Thanks, sir, for a wonderful welcome. I'm very proud and privileged to attend this meeting. From the beginning of Atal session, I've been, daydreaming about when I'll be a part of such a meeting. And I couldn't start this, Atal project in my previous schools. This is the first school where I'm, getting introduced to such an innovative mission by the government of India. So, first of all, I would like to thank Mr. Valliyappan Manikam for bringing into, for mentoring and helping us with all kinds of Atal innovative projects and training of the teachers and students as well. And Swamiji, welcome, pleasant welcome to you on my behalf. This is the first time I'm meeting you, and I'm very happy to have a part of this program with you. And Ms. Shan, I think ma'am's name is Ms. Chaya Bhanti, Vertiver. I'm very much proud and privileged, ma'am, although I could not see your video. I'm very much proud and privileged to have you on this platform with us. And with the help of the great mentorship and proud, being a guest of our program, I welcome you all on behalf of SSV management staff and students once again. So hearty welcome to all of you. Children, can we give a loud round of applause for all our chief guests? Yeah, very good, very good. Thank you, children. Thank you. So excellent morning to all of you children. Hope this session will give you a lot of insight into Atal Innovation Mission. And every year we have been doing a lot of projects with the mentorship and able guidance of Mr. Valliyappan sir. So this year also, I look forward that all of us work hard, and under his mentorship, we come out well this year as well as usual. Thank you, Ramya ma'am, Satish sir, and all the faculties over there who have been the backbone from the school side for this great innovation mission. Thank you once again for this wonderful opportunity. Have a very great blasting day ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Welcome to Ssv Atal, and I'm very glad that you are taking part and with your support, and we have excellent support from your teachers and students pool, and with your support now we can grow higher. Definitely. We can take it to the next level. Thank you so much, and welcome you all. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. If you have the courage to begin, you have the courage to succeed. Yes, here comes K.S. Vedavarna of grade 9 to do a speech on need for sustainable development and societal benefits.
Excellent morning to one and all present here. I am here to share a few words about the innovation period for sustainable development and the societal benefits. So, what is sustainable development? It is the development that meets the needs of the both present and future generation. It is a major case in mankind for their sustainable existence, and innovations are needed to develop it. Such example innovations are efficient medicines, essential medicines, efficient irrigation methods, and handy purification devices and manufacturing processes that minimize the waste and pollution. Some innovations help us to minimize the waste and pollution and bring a clean environment, such as some innovations help us to minimize the waste and pollution and bring a clean environment, such as innovative water purifiers that filter the water in no time, and electric cars, electric bikes, and algae curtains that absorb carbon dioxide and release the oxygen through the process of photosynthesis, and thus purifying the air. So we see that the man-made resources can be saved by using technology, but natural resources like land, water, greeneries, and And fuels like oils, coal, and petrol, which take millions of years to replenish, are gradually depleting. And so it can only be saved by us. Humans can benefit plenty of resources for the present and future if only we give a hand to the idea of sustainable development. All the countries should meet their basic needs of employment, food, energy, water, and sanitation. And this shows the importance of resource conservation. So, and remember that we are owing something to the planet in which we are breathing. So the only possible thing to do is that we hand it over safely to the next generation. Thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, students, for taking the leadership role in getting the sustainable development to us. And you are showing the courage and bringing a lot of enthusiasm. Thank you. Thank you for the nice coverage. Yeah.
Now it's time
Ramya ma'am,
to
Ramya ma'am, excuse me. Can we have each one on the screen, please? One single, work on the screen so that sirs will be able to see that clearly. We are not able to see it clearly. Can you make one child at a time to come before the camera so that we can see it little more clearly?
Yeah. Wonderful to see the collaboration now.
Yeah. So they can be little closer to the camera. Yeah. Thank you, children.
children has presented some paintings for Chaya ma'am. Happy birthday, ma'am.
Thank you so very much. They are very beautiful. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
I'm happy to note that your birthday coincides with our ATL day and our birthday wishes to you.
Thank you very much. This is the most special birthday. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, students, for the wonderful graphics and a lot of innovative ideas you are expressing through these graphics. Yeah.
Sha-la-la-la-la, happy birthday to you.
Audio is not visible. Ramya ma'am, can we have it once again? Ramya ma'am? I think that song was not heard by our Chaya ma'am. If I'm not wrong. Can we repeat the song, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because it was not heard at all. That essence has gone, right? Children, please come closer.
La la sha la 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 la, happy birthday to you. La 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 sha la 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 la, God will always bless you. La 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 sha la la la, happy birthday to you. La 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 sha la 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 la, God will always bless you.
Thank you for the wonderful arrangement. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can never thank you enough. Thank you, children, for the beautiful song. Thank you.
It's a proud privilege once again, ma'am, Chaya ma'am. It's our proud privilege that you have consented to be our guest on your birthday. That goes a long way, you know. We are very happy to have you on your birthday with us. Thank you, ma'am.
Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. I'll repeat. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. I request Mr. Swami Vanga Ramamurthy sir, Division Head, Robotics Business, Omran Asia Pacific, Singapore, to energize the young minds with his valuable words.
Welcome. Good morning, everybody. Can you all hear me? Yes? Very good. It's very exciting to be here. Before I start, Ms. Chaya ma'am, this is, I'm pretty sure this would be the most unforgettable birthday you've had. It's very sweet of the children and also the staff to kind of find this day, and thanks to Facebook and all the social media that's there. So many happy returns of the day from my side as well. So it's very exciting to be here. First I would like to start off with giving a big thanks to Mr. Valliyappan for having connected me to this this forum, and also enlightening me about all the Atal programs that government of India is has been having. And thank you for the introduction. Thank you, Principal ma'am there, and all these students there. I could see hundreds of them sitting there, and on a Saturday organizing this and coming in very regularly. Mr. Valliyappan had sent me some of the previous programs, and it's very very heartening to see so many efforts that the school is doing, and also the students getting benefited. So in this happy mood, I would just like to share some of the things that could be beneficial to the students in the area of my training, which is robotics. And I'll also touch on some of the sustainability connection that robotics has. Typically when you think of robotics, it's a different connotation, but I could probably try to articulate how now robots are going to become ubiquitous to society. It's kind of inevitable to actually even foresee something without robots. Again, robots, we have to see how you really define it from the days that when this robot term was coined, to the current context. So maybe in the next 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes, I'll take you through a journey of where robots are, and where the society is also kind of moving. So it's not just thinking about just robots. I mean, these are kind of pieces that make up the newer society, where I think all of the children here are going to be part of, and also are starting to make changes in the way the entire society now is going to be operating. So let me flash got a few slides here. So I'm audible here, right? Is it okay for all the students there? Yes, very good. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Okay, so the topic I kind of chose here is Society 5.0. I'm pretty sure many of the people would have heard something about this, maybe not as a Society 5.0 term. It's going to, it might be the modern society, the autonomous society, and so on and so forth, right? Basically, this is a word that has been, now coined to actually say how we are going to be seeing this kind of the entire society transform the next few years, and it's also already starting to transform, just like the 5G, right? So it's like the society 5.0. So and where the robots would be ubiquitous, meaning it's going to be present everywhere. It may not be as a robotics robot as a name, but you will see these things everywhere. So that's kind of the topic I've chosen to talk. So this also, I wanted to have it as a little interaction session. After a few round of slides, we will start having some interactions. So basically, I wanted to start off with when I say robots, I wanted to see the children here. What first comes to your mind, right? Would anybody be able to articulate what do you think about robots? What is the first thing that comes to your mind? Anyone? Let's have a it's a casual interaction, so let's not make it very formal. In fact, I'm in Trichy now, and I'm my native is just near Karur, which is Vangal. In fact, the next time I would really like to have a face-to-face interaction. So let's make it very casual. I think so. Anybody here?
Sir, it is the artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence, yes, that is one of the properties or the features of robots. That's very nice. Is that the first thing that comes to your mind?
It thinks and behave like humans, sir.
It is trying to behave like humans, right? Right. Very good. Very good. Anybody else?
Children, it is about robotics, right? You have it in your topic, right? You can share your views.
Sir is asking what you know about robotics. What comes to your mind?
I'm not sure I heard that. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again?
Stand and hold the mic and say. Yes, yes.
Sir, it makes a daily efficiency, sir.
Louder.
It makes our daily efficiency, sir.
Well, he's telling it makes our daily life easy.
The what is very big?
It makes our daily life easy.
It makes our daily life easier. I think you've got a very, it's a perfect statement, actually. In the next few slides, I'll give you some, where, how this robot term was coined and things like that. That's a very perfect statement. It makes something that's making our lives easier. Very good, very good. So I think if you've already you are already in the groove of becoming a robotics engineer. So thanks for that. Yeah. Anybody else?
Sir, it makes the things. It does the things which we can't do, sir.
So it kind of reduces your laborious tasks and things like that. Takes care of some of your tasks. That's what you mean, right?
Yes, sir.
Very good, very good. Okay, very nice. Good to start with this interaction. And then I also wanted to give you some glimpse of what this, I've been talking about the Society 5.0, right? So just wanted to give you where things are going so that you can put yourself in that perspective. And some of the applications I would have. I'm not going to go very technical in here, and we could have future sessions to talk. And then also, discuss, we can have a discussion as why robots are really inevitable in the future societies. All right. So that's what we're going to cover. So if you look at something now moving, towards this full future society, some of the things that is different from today, which is the current state, right? So current state, typically most robots that we see are in industry, right? So when you look at the current state, people look at production. I need more products, I need more things to come out, right? So that is the focus today. But then the focus that's in the future society is going to be more human centric, right? Society focused. How does this impact this society, right? So that is one big transformation that is happening. And then we have mass customization, which is, if you look at your the daily things that you use, like for example, maybe a toothbrush, maybe a toothpaste, the soap, whatever consumer products that you have, these are kind of mass customized to certain people, which means each of them will have a name, will have some kind of a brand, logo, and whatnot. But now we are going into individually personalizing each of those things, which means that when you want something, right, you would want to have that personalized to you. Maybe you may want to write a name onto some of the things that you have, right? So that is another trend that is going towards the future state. And we've been talking, robots have been machines and machines, right? I think somebody here one of the students was saying artificial intelligence, right? So you can already see it's moving towards human centricity, right? And some of one of you were saying that it is going to be helping humankind, right? So rather than just becoming machines, it is now needs to have that personal touch, the human centricity, and the human needs to be in the center of things, right? So rather than the humans trying to create these machines, we are now looking at how they can just collaborate and coexist with us, right? So it is more towards this bio machinery, right? And now then we were looking at automating. You want to run faster, run a lot of production and things like that, and slowly starting to go into autonomy, just like how humans are, right? We are all very autonomous beings, meaning I'm able to make my own decisions for daily activities, right? So if I want to go stand up and go, I have my own autonomy. So the machines are also starting to become more autonomous. And then mostly these things have been on with ownership in mind, meaning I own this, this company owns this. This is a capital equipment that is owned by a company, and slowly starting to go into the sharing mindset, which means that the equipment or whatever service machine that you see is getting shared with multiple people, so that you are increasing the utility of that. So that this is again it's all, you can actually see it's all going towards this sustainability orientation, right? And exactly now it's a consumption orientation to a sustenance orientation, which means that rather than me just becoming a consumer all the time, now we're trying to see how to reduce that and to contribute to others, to environment, to anything that you could think of, right? And then we've been looking at just data. I mean, you've probably heard about Google just having a lot of these data collected from multiple sources. But now what they are doing is, and any other software company as well, is trying to take that data and trying to distill them into knowledge so that people can use them, right? So it's more of a knowledge driven society than just data, right? So and finally, instead of looking at global things, we are going what is called globalization. I think one of the gentlemen in the earlier presentation from the Department of Science, I guess the name skips me, but he was also talking about how global, local problems are solved or being addressed through, global, solutions. So global solutions applied to local area, right? So these are the things that we're saying towards Society 5.0. So now this is, we are redefining a purpose, right? So I wanted to show you a video. How many of you here like Charlie Chaplin? Yeah, everybody likes, right? So let me show you something that he has done many years back, and how, the intent at that point of time, this is probably 60, 70 years back, right? How that is changed and transformed to address today's society, right? So let's go through this, okay? So the problem statement right here is, to increase, productivity. See, I mean, it was the industrial revolution, right? All the, few years back, with the industrial revolution, we're trying to produce more efficiently. And now, slowly starting to use some data to make it more efficient, and then going into, human-centric, society. So at that time, the problem statement was, increasing, productivity and lowering down the lunchtime, right? So this is what, at that time they found out that these are the countries that are spending X amount of time during lunch hours, right? Do you guys get it? Are you able to see this? Okay, so Australia spends about 30 minutes. United States spends 30 minutes, so on and so forth, and Greece spends 3 hours. Good that there's India is not here. So we would have, definitely, food is one of our main things we enjoy and do, right? But at that time, at industrial revolution, they said that, hey, some company, the owner of the company was saying, hey, workers are spending more time on eating. We wanted to reduce that time so that I can improve productivity. Okay, so then they came to Charlie Chaplin and the team, and so now this is what is the solution, right?
My friends, this record comes to you.
Can you all hear the audio? Yes. Okay. Let me play this. It's funny, but there's a, if you look deep into it, there is a philosophy, in here.
You through the Sales Talk Transcription Company Incorporated. Your speaker, the mechanical salesman. May I take the pleasure of introducing Mr. J. Willicombe Billows, the inventor of the Billows feeding machine, a practical device which automatically feeds your men while at work. Don't stop for lunch. Be ahead of your competitor. The Billows feeding machine will eliminate the lunch hour, increase your production, and decrease your overhead. Allow us to point out some of the features of this wonderful machine. Its beautiful aerodynamic streamlined body.
Okay, let me pause here. So what they're doing is they're trying to come up with a machine that will feed operators while they are making, production, right? So that they can reduce the time that's apparently wasted during lunch, right? So this is a machine. It's a mechanical machine that they are presenting to the company. Okay, let's fast forward a few minutes, and then let's look at how this thing, maybe works.
Porous metal ball bearings. Let us acquaint you with our automaton soup plate. Its compressed air blower. No breath necessary. No energy required to cool the soup. Notice the revolving plate with the automatic food pusher. Observe our countershaft double knee action corn feeder with its synchromesh transmission, which enables you to shift from high to low gear by the mere tip of the tongue. Then there is the hydro-compressed sterilized mouth wiper. Its factors of control ensure against spots on the shirt front. These are but a few of the delightful features of the Billows feeding machine. Let us demonstrate with one of your workers, for actions speak louder than words. Remember, if you wish to keep ahead of your competitor, you cannot afford to ignore the importance of the Billows feeding machine.
So you could actually see the culture there at that time was, produce, right? You cannot wait, this thing has to be running all the time. So that's the culture that was at that time, right? During the Industrial Revolution.
my friends.
Oops,
This
sorry.
record comes to you.
So now it's lunchtime. Let's look at what he does. Okay. So now the machine comes to the factory. Okay. So now you see what happened, right? I mean, their problem is real, but the way they apply and the context to which they apply seems to be not really fitting well, right? So they're trying to come up with this machine, right? So, but it would now, let's look at how this is being used in our context today, towards society 5.0, right? So now what has happened is, many years later, we've now come back to a robot that can actually start to feed, human beings. These are typically, elder people that are not able to eat by themselves. They have, they have these, issues with stabilizing their hand starts to shiver and whatnot, right? So to help those people, now we've got a robot that can actually feed, right? Look at how the so as you can see, the problem statement of basically feeding humans has been transformed from this industrial revolution where you have to just go with productivity and things like that, and now to really a human touch, right? So, and the technology also has grown quite a bit, and you've simplified the machine, and it's a tabletop right now, right? Rather than, this industrial, big mechanical, things. So now we can see where the robotics is going, right? You can see a little robot there that's trying to, help them, feed, right? So this is something to really keep in mind, to see, to kind of align with where, the society is going. Okay. So how many of you know who this gentleman is? Anybody here that knows who this gentleman is? Yarga Terima? So this is Shaya. I'm going to be talking in Tamil a little bit. So, for the benefit of the students here, I hope you don't mind.
Magalingam, TR Magalingam.
Hello, sir. This is NS Krishnan.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So, So I just wanted, so there is a movie, I mean, you all need to probably see those types of movies. I think people, these are visionaries. These are like Charlie Chaplin's of India, right? So what he does is, in one of his movie here called Nalla Thambi, he sings a song. Everybody, maybe you might, it's, for maybe the younger generation, maybe they don't know, maybe the teachers might know. He talks about Vinyanatta Valakka Porandi, right, to his wife. And he starts to talk about all the things that he foresees in the next, the next few years, right? And one of them is actually robotics. Okay, so do you? I mean, students, do you? I mean, does anybody know how to sing this? Vinyanatta Valakka Poren? Anybody that knows it, or even one of the teachers, if they are. Yeah.
Song we have heard, sir, but no, we couldn't remember.
Actually, we have heard the song, sir, but we couldn't remember.
Okay, all right. Let me play this, and we'll go to this portion where he talks about something. It looks like he's also seen the COVID situation. When I look through the song, we'll see this now. Okay, let me see. Make sure that you hear. Can you hear? Okay. Okay, so that's how it starts, right? You can go look them up, on YouTube. But let's go to a section where he talks about, it looks like he foresee, all these robotics things that's coming. Okay, so let's play that. Now you listen to this.
என்ன வேணும் கேட்டுக்கோ. நெல்லு புத்த மாவரைக்க நீரரைக்க மிஷினு, அல்லும் பகலும் ஆக்கி அரிக்க அதுக்கு ஒரு மிஷினு. ஐயோ, கொல்ல போறத்துல கொழா வைக்கணும், குளிர் மிஷினும் கூட வைக்கணும். பள்ளிக்கூடத்துக்கு பிள்ளைங்க போகாம படிக்க கருவி பண்ணியும் வைக்கணும். முடிஞ்சுதா?
Okay. So for people that can read Tamil here, right? So he talks about why I cannot. Okay, he talks about so he says வீட்டுக்கு என்ன செய்ய போறீங்க அதையும் கொஞ்சம் விவரமாக விளக்கி போடுங்க. So he says and she says நெல்லு குத்த மாவரைக்க நீர் இறைக்க மிஷின் அல்லும் பகலும் ஆக்கி அடுக்கு அதுக்கு தோறு மிஷின். Right? So they are thinking about this grinder and mixie and washing machine and vacuum cleaner and everything, right? Now, you look at the last two, the last thing. பள்ளிக்கூடத்துக்கு பிள்ளைங்க போகாம படிக்க கருவி பண்ணும் மிஷின் பண்ணியும் வைக்கணும். Which means that, we just pass through all these 2 years of schooling, without going to school. Okay, so this is the visionary, where they are seeing how we can create changes in the society, right? These are fundamental things. I think as students, if you are able to see those nuances, I think you can reach big heights with these types of visionaries, right? So so that's here. And then let's look at robots, right? So did you know where this robot kind of came from, the coin, the term? It's from this Czech term, 1920s, called forced labor. Okay, so robota is what is called, forced labor. So basically somebody said exactly the same thing. It's going to be helping us with our tasks, right? And it is also interesting that this term was coined in a play, in a drama. Okay, so you can also see the link between the media, the the recreational things, mind that we have, and how we want to take some of those machines and create more time for us for for recreation. Okay, so there are multiple types of robots. Now let's go look at some of the technical stuff. So now robots are everywhere. It's in mechanical engineering. It's a multidisciplinary field, right? You've got mechanical, you've got electronics, you've got computer science, software, bio, civil. I mean, it's in everywhere that you see, you've got robots. You've got home robots, right? You've got vacuum cleaners, right? You're trying to automate certain things. So it's trying to create time for you, right? So there are industrial robots, there are autonomous robots, there are humanoid type of robots. Okay, so like I said, 3 different varieties, major varieties, right? And you can depends on how you classify. You can also classify into other things. So let me show some examples of what we have, right? So this is typically what you might have seen, right? Typically these large machines, just like your human hand, is going to be doing multiple things that you are doing, right? You can imagine that somebody also said about trying to become like humans, right? For humans, you can classify your body into maybe about 5 different things, right? You're able to sense, right? Like your eyes, your 5 sense organs, right? Those are typically inputs to the robot. Okay, and then you've got logic, which is your mind, your brain, your intelligence, right? So we are trying to build some logic into the system. If this happens, do this. If that happens, do that, right? And then you've got outputs, which means that it's your motions, it's you're moving it's motor skills and things like that. So just like humans do, robots could also start doing. And then combining everything is what we call the robot, right? It's input, logic, and output combines into this machine called a robot. And then you're also thinking about safety, right? When you're trying to move in your center of gravity, make sure that you don't trip down. When you're walking down, you're able to see and then try to maneuver through areas. So safety needs to be built in, right? So those are 5 different areas that humans have, and we are trying to inculcate more into it. Okay, so you would have seen things like this, which is trying to assemble cars, assemble precision things that humans cannot do, right? So these are what is called industrial robots, right? That use motors and mechanisms and software that does a specific task. Okay, and now we'll start looking at the other type of robots, which is basically an autonomous robot. An autonomous robot is one just like you. It's able to provide motions. It's able to move in an environment without a specific program path. So when you're trying to enter a room, you're able to look at the room and you're able to move around, right? So now we've got a way to navigate. So this is what is called a UV robot, where it's disinfecting for COVID. Okay, so you are trying to provide a locomotion to that. Okay, and different areas you've got used in hospitals, you've got used in industries, hotels, and whatnot, right? You can go look them up. Look them up for mobile robots or articulated robots on YouTube. You'll be able to see a lot of videos there, right? And now we are getting into humanoids, right? So you've got this company called Boston Robotics that's able to do human type, human-like things, right? So now look at the development, right? From just a hand to movement. Now you're combining everything to have something that is human looking and being able to serve you, right? It's got vision, it's got all the senses that you have. But then again, just remember, these are built by humans, right? It just doesn't just happen just like that. Okay. Now, okay. So now let's look at, I think I mentioned about it. I'll just skip these because I just mentioned about it. this also I'll skip because just lack of time. So I just want to play a little video here. So now we are now able to use 3D to go pick up things, from trays, right? So you're using 3D vision to go pick up. This is what is called a collaborative robot, which can work with humans. Okay. And now to an interesting portion. One of the things that I saw from the videos, I saw your students actually work on what is called augmented reality and virtual reality. I just wanted to show you an example, and also, I'll finish it off in another couple of minutes. Okay. So as you can see here, the robot that is here, I don't know if you can see my cursor. The robot that is here, which is basically, a pick and place machine, is a virtual robot that is created virtually in an actual environment, right? It's basically augmented. Okay, so let's look at how this thing. So you could see the background. It's in the back of a real environment, and we are superimposing that. So now we are trying to get into the AR and VR and portions of it. Okay, and now let's look at the same thing for mobile robots. So this is not a real robot. It's actually a virtual robot on a back of an environment. Okay. So now, so there is, if students are interested, you can actually, scan this. Maybe I'll put a bigger screen. So I can also send you this link, and you can look at it. So you can scan this. If you want to play with an application like that, you can just scan it now if you want on your mobile phone, and you can install your application and start looking at these types of robots now. Okay. I can send it to Mr. Valliyappan, and he can distribute it. So what we are looking at is with this new the technological revolution that's going on, rather than just getting intertwined in just the technology, we just have to come out and then see how it really benefits the human society, right? So now we will need to start to think about how we look at this societal problem and start to see how technology is going to be used to solve this problem, rather than trying to come up with a technology and finding a solution in the society, right? So now we are looking at this society 5.0, where it's going to be an informed society, and it's going to be really connected, right? So we've got, just like right now, I'm just connected through virtually through everybody here. So it's going to be connected. It's going to be responsible, meaning when you are doing developing any technology, it has to be responsible to the society, right? So I would I would really say that the society 5.0 is something that we all are trying to create for ourselves as humans. And I also would like to end with this quotation from Peter Diamandis, who says that going forward, human intelligence is going to be the biggest driver in competitiveness and in decades to come. So please rethink on people rather than just on devices, right? So this is some, if at all you are taking away something from here, let's start thinking about human-centric solutions rather than just machines as a whole. All right. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm really sorry I ran a little bit over. I really apologize to the team here, and also to Chaya ma'am. But thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Swami. It's an excellent coverage, and I'm very happy to see the connection for the ancient vision with our Society 5.0. It's a wonderful, and I want to hear more and more from you now. I was thinking, okay, let us extend this your talk, and then really it is opening the eyes now, our eyes, and then how that we can interact with the society. And our student Adarsh is one of the experts in augmented reality.
Very
he has
good,
produced
yeah.
that, yeah, STEM. I think it will help him a lot now. I will connect him with this initiative, and then we will get all our students connected with that. Thank you so much for opening the doors now. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request Ms. Chaya Bhanti, founder, creative director at Vetiver, New Delhi, to inspire the children with her informative words.
Thank you very, very much, Valiyappan sir, for inviting me here to this extremely special occasion. And following from what Swami sir has given us an incredible outline, I'm almost overwhelmed at how wonderful it was and how eye-opening it was. Thank you so much. And following on that, my conversation is going to seem a little non-glamorous and non-techie, because it certainly isn't. But I'm going to try to bring home the humanized version, the need for human-centric sustainability work, which is what we work on at my firm Vetiver. The great thing I'd like to share with everyone is that the name of my firm, Vetiver, is actually a Tamil word, Vetriver, and we named it because I grew up in Rajasthan, and today I'm in my home in Udaipur. And here we grew up with Vetriver everywhere around us, as a drink, as a sheet to keep our homes cool, and of course as a soil erosion control grass. And I lived in the US for 20 years. When I came back, I realized that vetiver has completely almost disappeared from our lives. Not fully. It's still there as a fragrance. We still make things from it. But one of the things is the ecological loss of the grass, and the ecosystems that support it are slowly disappearing. So one of the things we wanted to just communicate is that vetiver has this beautiful fragrance in its roots. It has such an incredible ecological function as a grass. It's an erosion control device. So we must understand and remember and protect and figure out ways to really conserving the ecological resources of India that are the foundation of our creativity. So today, of course, your student gave a wonderful introduction to what sustainability is. And this is a term that we use very often. And what I'm going to do is give you a sense of what it is we do. I have worked in environmental finance and clean technology, plus I've worked as a designer and filmmaker. So I try to connect our creative ways of thinking about sustainability with the best possible ways of getting people to make decisions that are ways to protect are very quickly rapidly decreasing ecosystems. So I'm going to just turn this to my presentation, sir. If there is a way for me to just share my screen. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah.
Yes. Right, you all can see my screen. Yes, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a sense of what vetiver does. So we are always trying to balance the relationship between biodiversity, forest ecosystems, and human experience. And we do that primarily through design thinking on one side, and that is just a term that helps people visualize things better so that they can make better decisions. As you might know, people make better decisions. So for instance, 90% of the people, they make better decisions when they see something, and the brain processes visual images 60,000 times faster than it does text. So the lovely creative work that your students did earlier in the talk really connects to even the most scientific ways of approaching sustainability, because visual thinking and visual communication is going to play a huge role in whether you're talking about virtual reality, augmented reality, any kind of applications where you want to humanize the experience. And India is rich in the visual vocabulary. We all grew up with such beautiful ways of expressing ourselves. We just have to figure out how to technically connect our understanding of fundamental sustainability issues with solutions and see what role we can play between those. So as I said, this is our company. We are Vetiver. And what I request the students here to think of is, we talk about STEM, of course, and because I come from the arts world, for me, the A, which is the arts, also matters a lot, because when we think about STEM, we must think about how to envision a sustainable future with all the tools that we have. Drawing is an effective tool. Visualizing, designing, creating a story, making a film, developing a technology are all parts of the same creative brain. And we must understand that those two things have to be balanced together. So coming back to what sustainability is for us, we all know about climate change that is happening and all the impacts that it's having on all our vulnerable communities around the India. And India is, of course, one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change, because a lot of our communities depend directly on ecological and natural systems that are under attack from increasing heat, from extreme rainfall, etc. So when we think about sustainability, you must think of how we mitigate. Mitigate means, how do we lower carbon emissions? How do we lower GHG emissions? And how do we increase adaptation? Meaning, how do we make people, how do we support them to actually be able to transform their lives so that whatever they depended on earlier is not taken for granted, and they can have the new skills to adapt to a new environment that is being created. So we are talking about environmental sustainability. Some of the themes on that are forestry, renewable energy, natural farming, urban design, circular economy. These are key themes. In social sustainability, we are talking about just transitions. There are people who are depending on, ecologies that are completely being removed. So how do we transition them in a just manner to new ways of being? What are the alternative livelihoods do we create? How do we make sure that our women are very much part of the solutions across India in farming communities, etc.? How do we make sure everyone is involved in a very collaborative way towards solutions? So just to give you a background, the work that we do is on climate change, forestry, biodiversity, waste management, on developing nature-based solutions, agriculture, and clean technologies, and providing a policy, advisories on what smart cities are. And these are the specific services through which we do it. We do research, we do design, we do science-based communication, we engage with stakeholders. As you get older, you do realize that while there might be many solutions that already exist, the people that have the resources for them do not make the decisions because they don't know the impact of them. In that case, you have to connect the actual vision, so augmented reality can play an amazing role in imagining alternative futures, in letting people realize that if we were to, let's say, for instance, in Chennai, if we were to reconnect our, canals and to actually make sure that we go back to the way the actual water flows, we may have less flooding. We need to paint a picture of the future. We need to do that through amazing visual experiences as well as deep technical knowledge, and we need to combine those together. So the world of stakeholder management, what you think about, how do you engage with policymakers, how do you engage with people, businesses who have the resources, how do you manage the knowledge? Knowledge management is actually a pretty complex thing, of course, because there are layers and layers of information that are required to build the right solutions. And you can't rush into creating solutions, because if you do not, at this point, we are at a place in some ways where India is facing a climate emergency. It is also facing a soil emergency. India's soil systems, we have 60% degraded landscapes in India. And if we do not build our soil organic carbon through, let's say, biomass, and through natural farming practices, we will not have food security. We will not be able to produce enough food. So when we think about technologies and about, let's say, things that you may think do not require technology, such as simple farming, we must think of how these two can connect so that we can quickly scale our impact. So an example that I will give you here is a program we've been working on. It is called the Unnat Kheti project. It is in Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and Gujarat. And what we have done here is to try to we are the behavior change partners to this. And what does behavior change mean? Students, it is very, very important for you to know at this stage of your lives what it means to change people's mindsets towards doing the better thing for the environment and for society. Because just creating a product and a solution usually doesn't create a behavior change? Do you have to actually sensitize people, as I said earlier, to be able to see the outcome? So when we communicate to farmers, usually what used to happen is people used to say, oh, if you stop using fertilizers, your soil will get better. But we have to understand that when you approach farming, you are actually looking at a full ecosystem. So it is called an ecosystems based conservation approach, where we talk about soil health. We also talk about making our own bio inputs as alternatives to regular fertilizers, which are damaging for our soils. How do we do that? By creating and protecting our commons. How do we protect our commons? We make, what are commons? Commons are places like water bodies and forests that are co-owned by the communities. And one of the most amazing things about India for centuries is that in India, at every state, every level, there were beautiful ways of organizing people around collective conservation. Unfortunately, in our unsustainable lifestyles and the paradigm, we have forgotten how to conserve our commons. Once we conserve our common spaces, our farmers benefit. So this is the thing that we communicate to make sure that people understand that there is a connection between a faraway forest and a single farm, and the productivity. And crop productivity is an incredibly important topic of our times, and there is a lot of technology that one can create around it. There's a lot of behavior change that you can create around it. You can create designs around it, films around it, drawings, so much of it. So we work also on biodiversity conservation. We make sure people understand that butterflies and bees, if they're not going to be around you, your important pollination functions are not going to happen, right? But how do you tell that to a farmer? Maybe do you create a very wonderful street play? Do you write a song? Do you actually communicate with them on a digital, platform? So for instance, I'll give you my own personal experience. I have been working in UP with farmers as well as in Gujarat with farmers. I have found that Gujarat farmers are very, very progressive, and they're very quickly wanting to look on YouTube for solutions. What are the solutions? Why are they getting low crop productivity? How can they increase it? So they're wonderful. But in Bahraich, in UP, for instance, there are no smartphones. People don't have those smartphones. So even if you were to build the solutions, there will be no way for the farmer to process it, right? So we cannot just be solution centric. We must be able to understand what is the demand for that service. We have to understand the problem. If we understand the problem and we design a responsive solution, only then the sustainable solutions can come in. So when we talk to farmers about natural farming, for instance, we make sure we are talking to many other successful farmers who have been doing such practices for many years to make sure that this is research-based and evidence-based communication. That if you did not use chemical fertilizers in your land for the last 4 years, how did the yields improve? What did you do exactly? Did you do intercropping? Did you create different kinds of crops so that your productivity could increase? Did you create trap crops so that the bad insects, the pests that eat the crops could be attracted to the trap crops? Did you actually just plant a lot of trees? What kind of trees did you plant? What other species did you plant, right? So when we talk about farming, it's a pretty complex field, but these things become extremely important. The next big thing that we all also must be thinking about is nutrition. Across India, well, because our soils are degraded and there is a lot of chemicals in the system, and there is a lot of farmers who have to actually breathe in the pesticides that they spray, etc. The health of the farmers is in jeopardy, and if the health of the farmers is in jeopardy, our food security is in jeopardy. So we must make sure that we are developing nutrition-based solutions in which we are again reconnecting with India's traditional practices, traditional millets, etc., so that we are not just a monocrop place. We are not just eating rice, because again, when we look at our traditional societies, when we look at our traditional systems, we used to eat a lot of biodiversity and variety of foods, which was fundamental to our health. Now, how do we increase that biodiversity? We must understand the relationship between the different grains that are grown and the different things that are sold in the market. Because if the market is not selling them, we're not going to buy them, right? When we buy Lay's potato chips, for instance, we're just loving the taste of it, but we don't understand how that might be affecting our bodies. And if our bodies are not healthy, our minds are not healthy. And if our minds are not healthy, all the wonderful creative things that you do will not come to fruition. So Farming is a wonderful place to begin, where a lot of technologies, for example, solar irrigation. Solar irrigation has helped a lot of farmers make sure that they are not spending the money on diesel to pump the water. They are not flood irrigating, so that they can just put the right amount of water when it's required. So there is a water use efficiency. There are technologies that do that. There is IoT that does that. And there is just simple mechanisms that do that. Again, farming is an incredibly important place to look at for digital solutions, for mechanical solutions, for robotic solutions, for design solutions, as I said. To the right, I'm just showcasing something called a system of rice intensification, which is something we created like a clock to explain to farmers how, if you move away from flood irrigation farming to slightly much lesser water, actually the yields improve and the methane emissions, which are an important contributor to climate change because of global warming, are reduced significantly. So how do we communicate this to farmers who do not understand, who cannot read? We create lovely visuals, but we work very, very closely with soil scientists, with agri-scientists to make sure that every single visual communicates exactly what a farmer needs to know, so that when we go in front of them, they can associate and they can understand what it is they need to do. So these are some of the kind of things that we do. I'm showing you as an example of some technical studies in which we work with IIT, IIMs in India, as well as the Ministry of Environment, to communicate what is the difference between traveling on trains versus traveling by roads on cars. And you find out that the energy intensity of traveling in cars is much greater than trains. We have more energy security when we travel by trains. And what we do is we communicate usually what a boring technical paper is to a visual person into visuals that policymakers can understand. So these guidebooks that we developed were launched at the COP, the Conference of Parties, so that India could show some of the efforts that it is making across the different sectors. So transportation is one sector. We have to look at public transportation also as a solution for sustainability. Anyway, these are some of the stories that we've captured of wonderful farmers that are working only with natural farming and creating their own biomass, and they're also creating their own tree collection systems, as in, like species matching, to make sure that the right kind of biomass is available to their soil. So for instance, when you grow rice, you can grow pulses, or you can grow moringa trees. Now, moringa tree and a babul tree even, that is a nitrogen fixing tree. So you have to figure out how to, maybe if you're interested in communicating to farmers and you love the land and you want to really regenerate it, you can think of what is the best way to map tree species and how do you actually make sure that farmers have access to the right kind of information. So this is some of the stuff that we've learned. This is a film that we've been making on mangroves. Mangroves are very important, especially as sea level rise happens. We lose a lot of land in the future. It's forecasted. Mangroves are our natural buffers to a lot of the storms that are expected in the future because of climate change. They are also very potent carbon sinks. So the more mangroves we can create across the Indian coastal line, the more we will make our communities resilient. So your technologies are deeply needed to make sure that these simple things that were around for a long time can be regrown, regenerated. These are some videos of vermicomposting. There's just so many solutions that we can create, but we need scale. We need scale. To the left, I'm showing a very visual approach that we took to something called package of practices that the ministries give to farmers. Now, farmers don't understand simple package of practices, but we make short films on that and we take it to farmers. And just by looking at visuals alone, they understand what they need to do in their crop cycle. Where should they be treating the seeds? Where is it that they should be actually putting the fertilizer, the bio inputs, what kind of bio inputs, and at what time they should be spraying their organic pesticides, etc. So these are very important tools for us to build the resilience of our farmers. Another topic that we work on a lot is circular economy. Circular economy, as you know, is to do with making sure that all our waste is repurposed, recycled, reimagined. So here again, there is a lot of connection between even machine learning, AI, as well as actual physical product design and solutions process design. All of these things are really, really important. We know that a very tiny bit of our world right now, that little green dot that you see to the top square right here is the only thing we are recycling. That, this is the amount of the big brown box shows how much of resource we are extracting from the earth every year versus how much we are recycling. It is a huge opportunity in India to make sure that we mine our waste. First of all, of course, to reduce our waste, and Indians are amazing at reducing our waste because this is in our lifestyles. But secondly, if there is waste, there are 156 categories of waste. Can you apply your creative brain to thinking about what is it that you can do with waste? There is so much crop residue that farmers burn every year. Can you create interesting products from the crop residue so that instead of the burning of the crop residue, the farmer actually gives it to you and makes a wonderful little product out of it that can stay for a long time? Can you create something on e-waste? I have worked very closely with the government and the Swedish government on this, and there is even the Ministry of Science works a lot on a circular economy. Even if we hear that word a lot, please know that no one has solved this. There are technologies right now that are sort of mini robotic ways of seeing the soil moisture, moisture content in waste and segregating the moisture, the wet waste from the dry waste, but those are not accurate still either. Building sensors, figuring out how someone at the household level will be motivated to not combine their waste. Please know that 60% of India's waste is organic waste. What that means is if it goes to the landfill, and India has very ambitious goals to reduce global warming. So when we figure out a way of solving our wet waste, which is our 60% of our waste, we will have made a huge contribution to India. And what are the ways to solve wet waste? You can create compost, and you can turn everything green. Compost is very easy to make. You can make biogas, biomethanization are technologies that you can do, and you can create biobriquettes, and there is a lot of other, value added products that you can do. So there is product design, there are process design, again, technologies that you can think of. So this is an example of a project. Again, we were working with the principal scientific advisor to the government of India on a project called Sudhara. Sudhara in Hindi, Dhara is a stream. Sudhar is also betterment and mindset change. So we found a word that basically said we have to clean the drains of East Delhi, we have to clean our water bodies, and we have to do it at a household level through behavior change. We will bring technology when we think it's right, but we will bring low-tech technology. So to the right on top, you see these women standing. These are simple biodigester drums. These are aerobic biodigester drums. Women can come at a very small level, about 10 every month, can bring in their waste. All you have to do is rotate this simply. It's a simple tube that goes in the center that brings oxygen into this biodigester drum, and it creates beautiful waste. And because we were working with low-income communities, they have begun selling this compost that we call in Hindi we call it khad. They have been selling this khad for 150 rupees, 100 to 150 rupees a kg. So something that was ending up at
I think childhood connectivity is what is. Yes. Ma'am, your mic is in mute.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Was this my computer? I don't know why we got cut off. Can you see my screen? Am I doing okay on the time, sir? Hello?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Am I doing okay on the time?
I don't know. I think Shivaliappan is.
Okay. Well, I'll keep going.
Go ahead, please. Yeah, I mean, I think let's finish.
Yes. Yeah. So these are small examples of the kind of basic. So there are paint buckets that are sold in the market for, simple 20 rupees or something. One can buy them and make little holes in them and just make a simple aerobic composting system at home. You can also just take a simple clay pot, ghada, to do it. But I do feel that India needs a compost revolution because we are just sending too much of our waste to landfills. And if anybody comes up with engineering solutions of large trommels, please remember India is not an energy secure country. We are based solution, we are actually using too much of the energy to do something that could be done with manual energy. So we must not always approach everything with the technology solutions. There are simple, technology solutions, but there are simple non-energy guzzling solutions that exist that we must innovate on. This is just a cute little Swachhata Doot that we made, that we take to our communities. We also create community murals in participation with children so that people can. There are again examples of the kind of work that we have done, extensive work with communities. We have gone into wasteland to figure out how much of each waste stream is worth. And you can look at the videos. You will be surprised. I don't know if you know, but hair, the regular hair that we sell, which is used in a lot of machine applications as well as for, recycling, it sells for 3,000 rupees a kilo. There are so many waste streams that are just ending up in our oceans, that are ending up in our drains, that actually are of value to society. They're of value, they're economic value as well. We need to create systems that can actually harness these technologies. I will give you an example of a technology that we used. I don't have a photo of it here, but there is a company called Desme in Denmark. They created a kind of like a basic a buoy system that is implemented in a drain. It kind of is a series of small barriers that collect all the waste in one little kind of like a floating device, and it has a conveyor belt associated with it. So when the entire waste is collected, it just sends it from a conveyor belt outside the drain to the street, so that it can be burnt because it becomes hazardous waste when it's in a drain. So anyway, there are many technologies that are at the downstream level. Downstream means where you've already generated the waste, and now what are you going to do about it? But there are many processes and lifestyles at the upstream level. If we don't generate the waste, we don't have to recycle it. So how do we actually balance our lifestyles such as that? This is an example of some of the forestry. Forestry is a very interesting domain. We work a lot. Our partner firm, Iora Ecological, is one of the pioneers in forestry finance. What you do basically is to make sure that the carbon that is being sequestered in the soil from growing trees, from natural farming, etc., can be monetized so that India can receive the resources to grow more ecology. How do you monetize that? You do a lot of remote sensing and GIS work. You do a lot of ground truthing. There are very sophisticated tools that can measure the soil organic carbon, etc. And those still need to be created. Many of these things still need to be created, learning management systems, etc. So again, this is an overlap of decision support tools that are on apps. These are in the center. You see a photo of communities making biobriquettes from biomass that's available, so that they don't have to burn the fuel wood, which is too many emissions, and it also cuts the trees. They can actually burn biobriquettes to cook, so that there is much less emissions and much better for the communities, right? So these are simple technologies. For example, I will give you an idea here. It was 5,000 rupees, and the communities had to go all the way down to Guwahati from Sikkim to actually get the mold made. So are there simple product design ideas that you can create to actually help the communities make biobriquettes at a simple scale on the ground? You can think about these things as well. To the right over here, I'm sorry, I'm sending you a lot of visuals, but you see the tree here. It shows all the technologies that are connected to actually implementing a sustainable forestry system. You have a chain of custody app, you have a carbon inventory app, you have remote satellite systems, you have a monitoring app, you have forestry planting app, what species should be planted. All of these are digital technologies that could be created to make better decisions on forests, right? So this is just an example. We have the India Forest Portal that we created just to explain how important forests are to India and how do you actually communicate things about this. This is another work that we do on sustainable agriculture. We work with the government climate smart crops. There is a lot of work being done by excellent NGOs around the country. Pradhan Foundation is one of them, with farmers. So ancient grains, millets, I know many of you may not like, maybe you eat ragi, but some of them in North India, the kids are like, oh, it's too hard for me to chew. I just want my parantha, I just want my puri. No, we have to think about how to integrate millets in our diets, because millets are extremely important climate crop. And next year is the International Year of Millets by the FAO. So I genuinely hope that some of you children would really be interested in the value chain of millets in India and how to grow them again, so that our farmers can actually receive the climate resilience. We do a lot of nutrition workshops with our communities here to explain to them how to integrate millets in their diets. These are some examples of some of the things that we've created, some millet roadmaps. Again, a lot of visuals on climate change, why it's important to act, what can policymakers do. A lot of UI UX. Some of you may be interested in UI UX. A lot of people are now interested. But UI UX also requires a lot of technical information on how you communicate the right thing. You cannot just build nice, pretty colors. You need to understand how design thinking works to be able to communicate that. So you can think of UI UX approaches to create solutions. This is another project we did in TFPs, non-timber forest products. And these have to become, these are key sources of livelihoods for our communities, and making sure that they are harvesting these NTFPs sustainably is also important. And to the bottom right, you see something called the FPOs, farmer producer organizations. They also need a lot of digital technologies, so that when they are buying something for a forest or a farmer community, or by the time they bring it to the market, it is not gone bad. These are perishables. Can we create cold chains that are interesting? Can we develop sustainable cooling technologies that can, provide the connections that we need from the growth to the demand, right? This is the project we did again with the principal scientific advisor. This is a cloud advisory that we have created with IIT Mandi. We created the UI UX for it, a lot of analysis, a lot of primary research with farmers to understand how they would use the cloud advisory to grow, solution. Apps in themselves are not solutions. We have to make sure that they are well-designed apps that are actually talking to the problems that farmers face. So we did an analysis which shows only a few of the apps actually communicate what we need for the farmers. Again, there's a lot of data visualization, a lot of design. This is a wonderful little project we did for the Ministry of the Development of the Northeast. Here we communicated, you see, these are 8 states to the left, bottom right, left. They all wanted to make sure that anything that we created for them featured the cultural motifs of the states. So we took their traditional fabrics and we developed small motifs from what each fabric means, and we brought it into this knowledge portal. It's a climate change knowledge portal, and we created these films on sustainable beekeeping, on how do you restore springs in the Himalayas, how do you regenerate oak. Do you know that the oak tree is an indigenous tree that was wiped out from our Himalayan system, and instead the pine trees were installed, and oak trees recharge water. They hold more water in their roots than any other tree. They are beautiful. If you've ever seen an oak tree, you will be amazed by its magic. It has so much biodiversity that grows into it, but it is difficult to regenerate an oak tree. So we must make sure that our Himalayan ecosystems and our Western Ghats and all other ecosystems have the native trees. How do we make sure that our native trees are growing again? This is something that you must really be interested in, because these are very complex questions. This is another project we did in Majuli, which is the largest river island in Assam, to see how we can make this district carbon neutral. Does anybody know what carbon neutral means? I'm sorry, I'm giving a lot of information. Which of the children will here tell me what carbon neutrality means? Can somebody answer? Climate neutrality or carbon neutrality or net zero? Come on, somebody knows. I can't hear you if somebody's speaking something.
You don't have any idea, ma'am?
Okay, no problem. It is a very, very important word for you to know, because India has made a lot of very ambitious commitments to reduce its GHG emissions. And one of the most important things that we need to do to help our wherever the emissions are coming out, we have to reduce them. So when you approach something as a carbon neutral, you make sure that the amount of emissions that are coming out of a system are the same as the amount of emissions that are being sequestered into the ground, right? Or into its biomass. So carbon neutrality just means you do not emit any more than what you sequester. You arrive at an equilibrium. This requires a lot of social and technical work, because at a district level, if you want to make something carbon neutral, you have to work with the agriculture department to make sure that the fertilizer emissions are reduced. You have to work with forestry forestry sector to make sure they grow huge native trees and they don't do monocropping. You have to work with water departments to make sure they're using renewable energy, and you have to work with energy departments so that they are also using renewable technologies, etc. So a climate, when you approach something, I would love the state has created enough green cover and enough investment in technologies that they do not emit more. So, hey, why don't we make Tamil Nadu a climate positive state or a carbon neutral state? So work with your policymakers, see what solutions you can create across the board. So yes, this is a fun little visualization. Again, for those of you interested in data visualization, we did this as a comparison of cancer rates between UK and India. Again, something that's communicated much more technically across many pages of reports, can be communicated years, and we have helped interact with thousands of children, worked with the Swedish embassy and with the Ministry of Science to bring a lot of kids together, and then capture. Most importantly, what we have done is we have captured everything that everybody has said, the Nobel scientists, the policymakers, the children, and developed these recommendations for the president to say science-based recommendations for India. So as knowledge partners, what we do is we so much care about impact in India that we make sure that wherever we can collate knowledge, wherever we can synthesize it and humanize it and present it, we bring it forth in front of people who can make the right decisions about it and make this. So here I end my thing here with the project that we have just begun. It's called Hold On India. Hold On India is what we call making sure that we do not break our connections to the old sustainable living traditions of India. India has so much to teach to the whole world. Please, all of us children, your generation, you are the future, means that you connecting with your sustainable living traditions. No technologies are going to solve all the problems that we have in India. We need our traditions, we need our sustainable lifestyles, and we need to work together to make that happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful connections that you have made. Mr. Swami has given the connection for our ancient thinking with the robotics, and now you are connecting the dots. And it's wonderful to hear your thoughts. And there are a lot of takeaways and opening the doors for innovative thinking. And it really helps our students to say expand their horizons and then say, okay, they will. It's a kind of how best that stakeholders are involved in such connections now. Yeah, it's a wonderful presentation. Thank you, ma'am, for taking a wonderful time today and on your birthday. I'm really happy to hear a lot of innovative ideas from you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. A lot of insight on sustainability. This time, we are also proud to tell you about the launch of a product the last Africa Community Day regarding the vetiver purification, water purification project, which is your topic. So I would like Rania ma'am to talk about those product launch, and it is now reachable to the community also. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, we had done a project called Return and Pouch. This is used to purify water instead of RO. So we have done a pouch.
Sorry, we are unable to hear you properly. I think it's important that hear that.
because it is good to see the connection today, ma'am, that they have developed a project involving a vetiver. So it's a fantastic coincidence, and then bringing a lot of connections. Thank you, thank you.
Actually, this was done as a replacement of our ma'am. It is a pouch which combines three roots: vetiver, nannari, and tetravoticum. That is clear in that. So instead of using Orbo, so which we all know, right, what are the drawbacks of Orbo? So instead of that, so we use a pouch which will purify water. Along with that, so it will be giving some additional health benefits also, ma'am. We have done this project as part of Atal Marathon 2021, and we were selected among top 10 teams in state level. And this was recognized by our Atal AIM mission. And from AIM side, Nitin sir and Pratibha ma'am, they were helping us a lot in bringing this prototype as a product. And we launched this prototype as a product in our Atal Community Day 2021. And this was released to the community. So we released this to our students, teachers, and the parents committee, and we are using it now, ma'am.
Many congratulations. What an excellent product. Excellent. Many congratulations. This is a real discovery. We would love to buy some if we can.
Sure, ma'am, we'll send you one. And
yeah, the next time I'm in Wangal, I'll definitely come in, because this seems to be it's amazing that you took that to a product stage. I think yeah, I don't know what to say. Very nice.
Yeah, it was selected one of the best projects from the
Yeah.
ATL Marathon.
Yeah.
And now using our traditional approach, these students have built a very strong the influence now.
Excellent,
So
excellent.
hopefully it will change, and the dependence on the technologies and using the natural resources. It's a wonderful initiative executed by the students. Yeah.
Very good.
And
Very
it's a good
Congratulations.
connection for ma'am's vetiver initiative also. Yeah. Thank you. And yeah, I think next time please visit the facility and we can have more interaction with the students. Yeah.
Vetiver I will come.
Okay. I think we can dispatch some vouchers to Singapore also. Don't worry. I will
We
get
need to
you that.
popularize it. I think just like how Chaya ma'am was saying, this entire wealth of traditions and things that have been there for centuries, right? Including yoga, is a treasure for us. Now I'm very, very glad. Like other Indians as well, that we are now slowly starting to look at the importance of that, and being able to soak that and being able to tell this world is. I think this movement we can definitely see that it's going to revolutionize.
Yeah, it's a great nature-based solutions they are bringing to the market now. Yeah. And really, I am glad to see such is a wonderful innovative thinking from our students. Yeah.
Very good. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you, sirs. We are also going to launch few more products. This point of time, we would like to display few projects made by our students on sustainability. And we are going to display for other Tinkerfest and furthermore projects which are on the way. So if time permits, can we say well, a few projects on sustainability? Just quickly, we can have a brief intro on those projects, shall we, sir? Thank you. Yes.
Sir, excellent morning, sir. How are you, sir? Sir, it's a pleasure to have some projects and display in front of you, sir. Fortunately or unfortunately, we are linked with robotics at the lab. And last year in National Children's Science Congress, we have presented 40 projects based on sustainable development for comfortable living. So that is the topic for NCSE last year, National Children's Science Congress. And from that 40 projects, 5 projects were selected to state level. So one of them is this vetiver project and mobile toilet and cylinder projects. All those things comes under sustainable development for comfortable living. So our children are ready to present some projects in front of you, sir. Please, kindly listen, sir.
Excellent
Actually, yeah, Karur is famous for vehicles. This is a building of vehicles, na?
Bodybuilding, yes. Correct.
Yeah, bodybuilding, and they have got that idea through
Very
the.
nice.
Yeah. Please, students, yeah.
Excellent morning, sir. I'm Redina from Grade 10. This is mobile bio toilet. During festival times, we could see that there is a lack of toilets. Due to lack of toilets, people defecate in open place, which is harmful for humans as well as animals. So this is a problem. We need to find remedy for this. So we had an idea that the toilet should be movable, and we came to know about mobile toilets. This idea is already done in many states, but we have a new innovation in it. The waste collected in this mobile toilet can be converted into manure and given to farmers. Nowadays, farmers use chemical fertilizers, which is harmful for plants as well as animals. So our project can stop this.
As Gandhiji rightly said, cleanliness is next to godliness. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Our projects also support Swachh Bharat Mission, circular economy and sustainable development. We discussed with an essential staff that what are the health problems she faced when she cleans human waste. She said that she faces many skin disease and which is very harmful to human beings. So this will be an end to those problems. Thank you.
Congratulations, beautiful.
Perfect example of a circular thing. Very nice.
Excellent morning to all. I am here Joshni from grade 10. I am this Kanishka from grade 8. The title of our project is Automatic Gas Booking and Gas Leakage Detection System with Safety Guards. The main role in our project is about a load cell which detects the weight of the gas and shows it in display board. Obviously, when we are using the cylinder, it gets empty. After getting empty, it shows in the display board that cylinder is empty and it sends SMS or message to gas agency and it books the cylinder automatically. The second interesting thing in our project is the gas leakage detection that detects the gas leakage of LPG that the leakage of LPG is detected through sensors. Once the gas leakage is detected, it gives a long beep sound and the SMS is sent to the user's mobile phones also. Hope this project will be very useful for housewives and in our day-to-day lives also. Thank you.
Very creative solution.
Yeah, prior to this, they had an interactive session with the Indian Oil LPG division Trichy, and they acquired some knowledge, and then finally these innovative things have come to their mind, and it's a great thing because normally gas detection is one of the industrial requirements, mandatory, and now they are taking it to the home level, and then because booking the cylinder is one of the Herculean task in our place.
Correct. Very nice. Yeah, congratulations.
Morning to wherever I am Samiksha and she is Pratika of grade 10. Past 2 years, everybody started using sanitizer that is stored in a plastic container. This plastic containers causes variety of pollutions. So we have an alternate to this plastic container that is a biodegradable coconut shell container. Our biodegradable coconut shell container is impervious to salt and heat. So storing sanitizer inside this is very safe. Our aim of this project is to minimize the plastic pollution. And this is a container made by coconut shell. We think this will bring a big change in our society by against plastic pollution. Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
Very nice. I'm starting to recall my younger days where we now started using. I mean, we used these coconut shells, and I recall my father making spending the Sundays making useful things out of coconut. Which we still have those. For our in our puja room we have some of the things that is handcrafted by him. So and all the playthings that we used to make with that. I think amazing. I mean, now you are trying to go into things that you could really use, in this time of the COVID and all these things. It's very, very thoughtful.
Yeah. Yeah, without any chemical influence, getting it activated carbon out of coconut shell, and now they have made it as a natural solution now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We have done a project for carbon-free vehicle. The carbon-free vehicle releases carbon. The carbon footprint increases. So because of that, many climatic changes, global warming, everything increases. So that we have made, we are capturing the carbon which is released from the vehicle. It is the olefin. Olefin is a kind of mineral capture carbon. We have made it into a sheet, and when gases releases, carbon goes inside the cylinder, and the gases releases with the gases which all carbon releases outside.
So, Chaya ma'am, I think they all know about the carbon footprint.
Neutral, yeah. They have gone to that level now, research and yeah.
With the catalytic converter making this thing, and amazing, very nice.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent morning to one and all present here. Myself, my name is Ssv I'm from 8A, and my project is about object sensor car. And my project is about object sensor car. I made this project with IR receiver, module X motor, basic board, servo motor, and sensor. My car detects object in front and moves accordingly. Nowadays, worldwide accidents are increasing. My car prevents accidents. It senses the objects or material in front and turns or move accordingly. One of the leading automated cars and electric cars is Tesla, and my project can also be as a part of it, in the upcoming future days. Thank you, sir.
Very good. Yeah, zero accident car is one of the things that everybody is working towards. Very nice. Excellent.
Yeah, because the traffic is growing very high, and these days.
And I'm also very impressed with the lingo, the language that they are talking with. The technical terms, and studying at the 8th standard, they're able to freely talk about servos, their IR sensors, and very nice, sir. I think the teachers, we need to applaud the teachers. Here.
Really. Mr. Satish and Mr. Rajesh, and they have a wonderful pool of science teachers.
The teachers, very, very inspiring.
Excellent morning, sir. This is a smart blind stick. It helps a blind person to walk without fear and confidence. There is a chance to get hurt, and this helps, and this gives a big shot when an obstacle comes near, so that they can walk without any fear and they do not get any injury.
Very creative.
So thank you, sir.
Very creative. Congratulations.
Excellent morning, sir. My project name is water purifier. It is used without current and it purifies the water without current. I used coal, soil, stone, and cotton to make this. We don't need any current to use this. It is a natural process of purifying the water. Thank you, sir.
Very good.
She was using sand, charcoal, and she was trying to purify water using the old traditional methods.
She mentioned something like soap, is it? She say?
Coal, sir. Coal.
Oh, coal.
Coal?
Oh, wonderful. That's
Very good.
really,
Okay.
really lovely.
Yeah, I mean, even the traditional water filters have charcoal. Very nice.
We need to be trying to submit 40 projects for our next project display, sir, on sustainability. So most weeks with water treatment, connecting with circular economy, carbon footprint, so we are so we are working on it, sir, for the projects.
Very good, very good. I mean, we need to have, since I'm part of, my native is around where you live. I think we need to take some projects there, and like what Ms. Chaya was mentioning, we should start to pick this thing and have a target, for all of. I think we could do wonders there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Connection with your surroundings.
Yes.
You are now going to be the client now for them.
Definitely. I think, some of them also can, there's a lot of learning from, I think, Chaya's presentation as to how important this visual thing is, right? Just like, this N.S. Krishnan sir was doing, you have to communicate to the society through songs, through visuals, through these things. And it has been happening for many years for us, right? There's this Villu Pattu that we have in Tamil Nadu, where you actually sing with the bow, right? And so many things came out of that. So I think, at least some of the students here also not just look at the technical and science portion of it, but also start to enjoy the arts and try to connect them, to this and have this message sent through arts. I think it's a very important thing. It's a lot of learning to be done in that area. It's basically manifesting what you have. It's not new. You have to bring it out, I think. Very, very inspiring talks. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Definitely, sir. It's all because of Atal mission and our school management, HT, and Mr. Valiyappan, sir. So we are all joining hands together to bring out the best from the children, sir. So we have 2 more projects, sir. We'll display it later, but we have a question session now, sir. Our young minds are ready with some questions to the chief guest. Shall we, sir?
Yeah, please.
கொஞ்சம் ஈஸியா கேட்டீங்கன்னா பரவாயில்ல.
நாங்களாம் ரொம்ப நாள் முன்னாடி படிச்சது.
Sir, what is the best form of recycling, sir? As a lot of waste is produced in our process.
Is the question what is the best way of recycling?
Yes, form of recycling. Best form of recycling.
Would you like me to take that, Swamiji?
Naturally, it's to you.
That question can perhaps be rephrased as what are the various forms of recycling, because there is not just a single way of recycling. As you just showed us, a wonderful coconut shell is also a really good way of recycling. And of course, the bio toilets that you showed is an amazing way of recycling. So there are various forms of recycling. And I think as a school project, you could take on a way of mapping the different recycling approaches on different kinds of waste. So you have to begin with mapping the category of waste. Is it an e-waste? Is it wet waste? Is it, hazardous waste, etc.? And figuring out, of course, hazardous waste has to be incinerated, but the other kinds of waste can be recycled. So first map all of those and then figure out what is the best way to recycle things within that category. There are many, many, many solutions. So I cannot give you just one.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, if you are able to research all of these things and just find just one way to recycle everything, just one method that will actually be more efficient and reduce the carbon footprint, that would be the best. So I think that is where.
Yeah, I mean, the best way, of course, is to return something to the soil.
That
right. is the best way to recycle. Yes. But then also, then you have to design the right product that can actually be disintegrated into soil.
Yeah. That's the reason we are encouraging them to apply the life cycle assessment when they start their innovative thinking, to see that how best that these things can be, because recycling is going to be a major challenge for us.
Yes, and if I may just add, the LCA system, the life cycle assessment, still requires a lot of libraries of information in order to actually be assessed well, because there may not be enough libraries. So that's another project that the students can take on, to actually create a very robust library of information on materiality that allows people to actually conduct the right kind of life cycle assessment on the entire embodied energy and the resource energy in a system.
Because their interaction with the society, to bring what the society needs in terms of recycling, they can easily find the answer.
I will give the name of someone named Alamitra Patel. She is an 85-year-old lady who was, I think, one of the first Indian women to graduate from MIT. She lives in Bangalore and she has a website. I think it's called alamitrapatel.com, I believe. And it's a very simple website that gives a few different solutions, many different solutions to different things. So I would encourage everyone to go there as well.
Thank you, ma'am. Next one.
Ma'am, is there any possibility for zero waste lifestyle?
I didn't understand the question. Please say that again.
Is there any possibility for zero waste lifestyle?
Geo-based?
Zero waste.
Zero waste. Wow, that is a very important question. So if I talk about my mother, who is an 83-year-old. I believe she has lived a zero waste lifestyle all her life. So when we look at our older people, when you really analyze the way they live, they are not wasteful at all. What does zero waste mean? That anything that you use, if you don't need it, you don't take it. If you really need it, you use it all the way to the very end and return it to the soil, right? Or you give it to someone else who can then carry that on. So yes, I would say India has demonstrated for centuries a way of living zero waste lifestyles, which is why our ecological systems were healthy. So I would say, yes, you can again map that. Wherever you see barriers in your zero waste lifestyle, try to come up with a solution. Why is this not working? Because clearly we have demonstrated it.
Yeah. If I may, I think the needs versus your wants. I think if you are able to map that, and if you're able to be able to distinguish that and live as per what I think Jaya was saying, like our elders, then I think you would naturally, you'd not even, this term would not even come, because it would be just natural, to all of us. There's simple things like that not taking plastic bags, just using your bags. That will be that's what we see with elders, right? They don't have a lot of clothes that they wouldn't need. So I think these are some of the examples. I mean, it's a lot to learn from our elders.
Yeah, actually these days circular economy is emphasized in textile segment.
That's right.
But yeah, it was actually originally implemented long back in our joint family system. So using the cloth from one person to another.
Yes.
That was there.
Yeah. And the qualities were good. There is no use and throw. Use and reuse and reuse.
Sir, is it possible to utilize robotic techniques in clearing drainage related works instead of humans?
100%. I think this is one of the toughest things that it's the toughest problem for a robot because it needs to maneuver and also survive in an area where it's going to be embedded with a lot of dirt and dust. But there are companies that actually do that. So I would really like to as ATL lab, I would like to see if that is a problem statement that we could actually take in the area, not just for cleaning the drainage, but also desilting some of the canals that we have. These small canals that actually pass through most of the villages. Even in our village, there's one small one and a large one, and then the river. So this is, this would be a great project to try out. Specifically with some vehicles, things that one of your students or one of your peers were doing. I think we should consider thinking that way. But there are people that are doing sanitation, cleaning up of drainages with with robotics. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there
Recently,
are always
some,
better and economical way of doing things, simple way of doing things. So if we can take some of the examples and try to simplify it to adopt to our situation, because there are different types of drainages, closed, open, and things like that. So we can learn from them and see how we can adopt it here.
yeah.
Very good
Recently,
question.
some startups have come from the IIT Madras.
Yeah.
To say have zero manual scavenging.
Yes.
And they are using, and now with the support from Mr. Swami, I think we can bring that technology to that region now. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think as much as possible, we should be able to contribute in that area. Yes.
Sir, how can someone living in a city with low economical resources reduce their impact?
I'm not sure I heard that well.
How can someone living in a city with low economical resources can reduce their impact?
With low economical resources, reduce their impact. That must be for you.
Well, I mean, firstly, we know that people with low economical resources have the lowest impact, and people with much more economic impact have a much greater impact. We know that, anyway, I won't get into the numbers. But I think one of the ways that we need to support, again, I will get back to ecological health. When the ecological health of our rural places is good, the people who have to leave their cities to come and work as, like, let's say, urban laborers and live in low economic conditions will not be forced to do so. And when they do come into the cities, they might have the resources to get, improved livelihoods, and they might have better ways of bargaining power to be able to have an equitable life. So I don't think that people with low economic resources can are the ones that we should ask, but definitely there is, for example, there are companies that sell tiny little 2 rupee sachets of shampoos or 10 rupee sachets of water in plastics. Now, these people who cannot afford for a long time to have anything stored have to keep spending money on 2 rupee sachets. And you see in ghettos and in a lot of places, slums, it's filled with tons of waste. So we can be, through our compassionate design, we can approach these communities for better health, to design systems in which their sanitation is well designed, in their access to hygiene products is well designed, so that they don't have to generate, they're not forced to generate the waste because they can only afford small amounts of plastic, which then litters ourselves. Again, the other pet peeve I have in India is a lot of low income men, especially, who work hard, eat a lot of good tobacco, gutka, which is we call it. They chew a lot of tobacco. They just keep on going. They do it because they want to keep on going. They are malnourished. And instead of, every time I sit with anybody that's a driver that's eating it, I give them an entire story of why they need to stop and there's mouth cancers, but also to see if we can create alternative ways. Of course, awareness is very important. Access to things that allow them to not just generate that waste, but also improve their health. So we have to be very conscious and vigilant as active citizens in society to identify things where we feel we can make a difference. Note that down. I would encourage all of you to keep a sustainability notebook, because ever since I was a child, I've been coming up with so many ideas in my mind. It's just you can't keep track. Keep a notebook, Keep a notebook of all your ideas. Your wonderful teachers that have created this, please discuss with them and see what you can take on as tiny little pilot projects. They'll be effective.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir, for patiently answering all our students' doubts and spending 2 to 3 hours of your valuable time is indeed a great thing. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And we will be happy if you could visit Karur, come and meet our students directly and encourage us and add lots of inputs so that we can develop our projects. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think we are now basically we have to thank you for giving us the opportunity to share here. So it's time well spent and very very happy and for being here. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Swami, for bringing the international experience to our students. And it is a wonderful robotics kind of thing. How we have to think on robotics. For say our day-to-day utilization and how it can be interfaced with our daily requirements. And Madam Chaya, this is wonderful that you are connecting the dots now for our expectation, societal expectation with our the sustainability, and it opens the doors for their innovative thinking. Thank you so much for sharing such wonderful thoughts and a lot of takeaways. I think, as you said, they have to take notes. And then say put it on the some it is not then it will go off the mind and then they may lose out. So yeah, it's a wonderful thought sharing. Thank you for your excellent support from you two people. Yeah,
Thank you, sir. Sanupama to give the vote of thanks. And on the screen, we would like to also display on the background regarding our Atal journey so far, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Excellent afternoon to all. I deem it a great honor. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. Let me first of all start by giving glory to the Almighty God for making today's occasion a resounding success. The first and foremost, I thank our special guest, Mr. Swami Ramamurthy, Division Head, Robotics Business, Omron, Asia Pacific, Singapore, who despite his busy schedule has found time to grace this occasion. And I also express my heartfelt thanks to our special chief guest, Ms. Chaya Penti, founder, creative director at Rejuvenate New Delhi, for her valuable contribution. We are grateful to our mentor, Mr. Valiyappan, for his words of encouragement. His able guidance has always encouraged us. I thank him for his kindness, his interest, his hospitality, and continued support. I thank our correspondent, Mr. Ashok Shankar, Secretary, Mr. Anand Shankar, Principal, Mrs. Rajni S. Nair, Vice Principals, Mrs. Visharani and Mrs. Samandeshwari, for their valuable support for this function. Last but not the least, I thank all the teachers and students for your kind cooperation in making this function a resounding success. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Right time, because right now we are launched, we are ready to work with Inspire project and a lot of science projects on the way after children after COVID, and they are fully physically activated in this project designing, and you have given a lot of insight for us. And please do visit us, sir. Please do come visit our school, and we need a lot of guidance and there are a lot of projects also to be displayed and a lot of ideas are required. I'm sure you'll also get connected online. Whenever you find time, definitely Valiyappan sir will arrange the sessions. And thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Valiyappan sir.
Definitely, thank you.
And thank you so much teachers, good support, and then their interaction with the students. And Madam Rajini, now the doors are open now, and you can begin the very good innovative things coming to you. And then, but now we already identify the clients for the technologies coming out of your school now. So now we can get into that. Yeah, thank you.
Sirs, ma'am, thank you so much for your valuable presence. Can you wind up, sir?
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you once again.